Snipers, you have to see what's happening to the Bitcoin price today as we saw a major dump overnight, and just like we predicted in our video yesterday, as soon as we broke this major support level, we came down to test the previous weekly open at $48,500 and now we're coming back for a second retest. There is a lot happening in the markets today. I also want to take a look at Ethereum, because when you look at Ethereum's 4-hour chart, it is now breaking below this major support level on the Ichimoku cloud that was respected ever since we broke the previous all-time high. This could have a huge effect on Ethereum's price. And then we're going to take a look at Bitcoin dominance as we are seeing strength for Bitcoin against altcoins as we are above the weekly open, and that has a huge effect on altcoins. And then Kraken saw a scam wick that liquidated a ton of traders, with Ethereum going all the way down to $700. I was actually affected by this. I got liquidated. I want to talk about exactly what this means for the cryptocurrency market. You guys are watching the Snipers channel. My name is Naeem Al-Abeidi. If you appreciate this content, remember to like this video. We have a ton to talk about today, but just as we predicted in our video yesterday, we saw Bitcoin come down to retest the support level. And when that happened, I told you guys, if we were to come down here, we were most likely going to come down to this weekly open. This was the previous weekly open, and that's exactly where we found massive support. We saw a ton of buy volume here, but I am a little bit skeptical about this volume because of the fact that this happened overnight, number one. But number two, when you see wicks like this, typically the volume is manipulated because the volume most likely came from buy limit orders that were already set here. But you can see for the second retest of the support level at 48,500, we haven't seen the type of volume that we saw with the initial dip. And so you have to realize, when it comes to technical analysis, you have to think like an institution. Just because we saw massive volume here, it was when we saw a massive dip in price, and so a ton of buy limit orders were triggered here, and we only maintained that price for several minutes. And so realize that right now we need to see some volume come in as we are coming back to test this major support level at 48,500. And if this breaks, the next support is at $44,800. Now, the upside targets for Bitcoin, if we are able to get back above both of these major resistance levels that will become support levels, that could show us a potential bullish sign for Bitcoin. But until that happens, what we want to watch is this 4-hour Ichimoku cloud, because you can see it's showing confluence with this major support level, the previous weekly open at 48,500. And if this breaks down, then that $44,800 level is the next target for me, as that was the initial high that was set when we broke out of this pattern and we saw that Elon Musk pump. And if this level breaks, 44,800, the next support is going to be the previous all-time high at $41,950. I don't want that on the table just yet, because we don't want to come down and retest a previous all-time high if we want to assume that Bitcoin is going to continue into price discovery. What I'd ideally like to see for Bitcoin right now is a consolidation in this range. I wouldn't even mind if Bitcoin came down to 44,800, but as long as we see a consolidation in this range, that could be positive for not just Bitcoin in the macro, but it could also be extremely positive for altcoins. Now, what I want you to realize is when we pull up these three moving averages, we do have this 100 period moving average holding as support right now. That's also showing confluence with the previous weekly open, which is showing confluence with the Ichimoku cloud support level. And so that's why, in my opinion, this is an extremely critical level for Bitcoin right now, and we must maintain that $48,500 level. If we want any more bullish upside targets, then we need to get back above that $52,500 level, and that's where it's at right now. That could change in the next couple of days, but you have to see what's happening to Ethereum right now as we broke down from the 4-hour Ichimoku cloud, which is a potentially bearish sign. And I want you to realize what's happening to Ethereum now, because you can see not only did we break down from that major level, but we are testing the 200 period moving average on the 4-hour chart for the first time since we broke out from 1440, which was the previous all-time high over here. And so that to me says that this is either going to be a very healthy correction where we continue up, or this could be a breakdown. And if that's the case, the major level I'm watching is going to be the previous all-time high at 1440, which also shows confluence with this ascending support level that dates back towards the start of this year. And so for Ethereum right now, if we are not able to get back above this previous weekly open, which is at $1,800 on the dot, then in my opinion, that becomes very likely for us to come down to retest this support level, potentially even the previous all-time high. But I'm not going bearish yet. Once again, I am the umpire. I take a neutral perspective on things. I want you guys to just know the upside and downside potentials, but realize that so far we have broken a major support at this Ichimoku cloud, and I want to see us get back above 1800, which would take us also above the Ichimoku cloud resistance, and at that point we could assume potential upside targets for Ethereum. And when it comes to altcoins in general, we look at Bitcoin dominance right now. We are above the weekly open. To me, that could be a potential concern for altcoins. When we look at what's happening to Ethereum to Bitcoin, we are continuing down here, breaking down from this structural pattern. Unfortunately, we thought this was going to break out at some point, and we did have a couple fake outs, but you can see that is not the case. And I think the reason for this fundamentally is all of the news with BNB and of course the Binance Smart Chain, and a lot of the value that was locked up in DeFi is transitioning into the Binance Smart Chain. But when we pull up DeFiPulse.com, it's not too worrisome. We still have over 35 billion locked up, but we do have a lot less money locked up into the Ethereum smart contracts, probably due to the fees, of course, and I think that's why we're seeing some weakness with Ethereum right now. But it's extremely critical for us to watch whether or not we're going to come down. And what I want you to realize is on Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, we do have this daily breach of these moving averages, and if we close a daily candle below the 100 and 200 period moving average for the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, that could be slightly bearish for the Ethereum value against Bitcoin. But I think we're very oversold right now, and I think at some point or another we are going to see a spike up. I'd like for us to get back above this weekly open, sitting right around that 33,600 Satoshi level. But for now, things are bearish for the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, and once again we see that reflecting with Ethereum's price as we've already broken down and we are coming towards that 50 period moving average. Now let's talk about altcoins, specifically altcoins outside of Ethereum. What you'll notice about others' dominance right now is we are above the weekly open, which is good. However, we are starting to find some weakness at this area, forming these lower highs. We're not necessarily seeing too much action here. We do have a potential triangle forming, but when it comes to others' dominance, it likes to move intentionally. When it goes down, it goes down. When it goes up, it goes up. And so if this starts to reverse, the first sign of that is going to be a breach of this weekly open. If we start to come below that, that could be negative for altcoins. But for now, we are at a very critical time, and realize that we need to get back above this previous weekly open at 10.28% altcoin dominance. And until that happens, we have to watch this chart. And then let's take a look at what's happening in traditional markets, and I'll talk about what happened to Kraken with all the liquidations and Ethereum's price coming all the way down to $700. I was personally affected by that, and maybe some of you guys were too. I hope you guys weren't affected by that, but if you were, then I empathize with you because I am also affected by it. But realize that with traditional markets right now, we are seeing a pullback. This is the Hong Kong traditional markets. We saw an over 3% pullback yesterday, and it looks like we have a bearish candle forming right now coming towards this monthly open. Weakness in the international markets could reflect onto cryptocurrencies and our traditional markets like the S&P 500, which hasn't seen as much weakness yet, but that could change, being the fact that we're seeing weakness in the Hong Kong international markets. And then when we look at the DXY, not much happening, still inside of this major area below the monthly and weekly open, which is good. So I'm not too concerned about things. I think this is a very healthy correction. We look at US oil, we're seeing new highs right now, so commodities are strong. We look at gold, we're seeing some strength now to the upside finally after reaching this major support level. And so I think that things are just kind of cooling off at this point. Once again, if Bitcoin consolidates, I'd like for it to consolidate in this range because that could be very healthy for altcoins. And with Ethereum, we have to monitor whether or not we're going to be able to get back above the 4-hour Ichimoku cloud. If not, then that could be detrimental for the Ethereum price. But I don't see too much downside at this point, just because of the fact that when you break an all-time high and you step into price discovery like Ethereum did recently, breaching that 1440 level, you typically don't come back down to test the all-time high. Now, let's look at this chart. So Kraken, tons of liquidations. Ethereum's price came all the way down to 700 US dollars, and then it spiked right back up. I was personally liquidated by this, and here's a lesson for you guys that may have been affected by this, or even if you weren't affected by this. You want to use exchanges that have volume and only trade large amounts of capital, specifically with pairings and assets that have a lot of volume. So if you're trading a large amount of capital, stick to Bitcoin, stick to Ethereum, stick to the large exchanges like Binance that have a lot of volume, because Kraken obviously didn't have enough order depth to maintain the price levels, and it literally just took the price all the way down to 700 US dollars because of their order books not having enough depth, and a whale coming in and doing crazy market orders. And that is a very bad thing if you guys are trading in these markets. And so the way to prevent that is to use an exchange that has a lot of volume and trade pairings that have a lot of volume. And if you're trading less capital, then trade some of the altcoins on exchanges that have the most volume for that specific altcoin, right? So that's the big lesson there. I do want to give out a book. If you guys want to win one of my favorite books on investing and trading psychology, all you need to do is comment below and share this video, and that'll enter you into the giveaway. I'll actually pick a winner from our video yesterday. Let's go ahead and just scroll down. I'll do one of the newer comments since we always do the first comment. Let's see. Yanai May says buy silver, or no, she has 71 likes on this comment. It's probably a spam comment. Bruce S, you won the book. Go ahead and message me on Instagram. The link is in the description below, and I'll send you out Trading Psychology. Bruce says great content as always, direct and to the point. Your explanations make perfect sense. Thank you so much for those kind words. It means a ton. Hopefully you guys learned something from this video. So much is happening in the markets right now, and the critical levels to watch right now for Bitcoin specifically is going to be this previous weekly open. If this breaches, then that $44,800 level comes into play. But I'm not too worried about things right now. There's not much happening in traditional markets. Yes, Hong Kong's traditional markets are seeing a pullback, but that's after seeing new all-time highs. And of course, we've been on a parabolic rally, and so a correction here is not that big of a deal. And especially if we start consolidating this area, that would be very positive for Bitcoin, and that would allow us to assume this isn't the top and that there is further upside left. But if we start to break down from this level, and then we break down from 44,800, then we could potentially have a top. And so thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this content. Sorry for being a little bit late. I had to make up some of my losses from that Kraken liquidation, which I already made all of them up from an Ethereum trade. I actually sent it out to our Discord group here at 1565, and that has already hit the first target. I went pretty deep on that trade because I really wanted to avenge myself after that liquidation, and thankfully I made myself out of that. And yes, so thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, snipers out.